Good morning. I had in mind to do this yesterday, but yesterday was quite a busy day and a special day. Yesterday was our son Moshe, our seventh child. It was the day of his bar mitzvah. And although we will be celebrating in a few weeks after Passover to allow family to come and friends, we took him into New York yesterday on the day of his bar mitzvah, which also happens to be the day of the birth of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, blessed memory, and we took him to his gravesite to pray, and then we had a little celebration where he recited his Chassidic discourse at my parents' home, may they be healthy and live long life, in Brooklyn, and we celebrated with some family because the reality is that that's the day of his bar mitzvah, and it's a special day. He was born on a significant day because, as we know, the birthday is a day of tremendous power, and the Rebbe is the person who single-handedly impacted Judaism after the Holocaust in a way that nobody else did. And I wanted to share with you a little bit the Rebbe's perspective, how it ties into Passover, and two little anecdotes which tell us so much and could be a message to us as we sit at our Seder. You know, we read about the four sons in the Haggadah, and we have the wise, we have the wicked, we have the simple, and we have the one that can't even ask a question. The Rebbe teaches us, why is the wise son next to the wicked son? Because the wise one always has to influence. You're only wise if you're sharing your wisdom with somebody else, if you're impacting the person who's sitting next to you. But the Rebbe says something revolutionary here, and it's really sad, but it's important. The Rebbe says that we live in a generation that there's actually a fifth child, the one that never makes it to the Seder table. You know, the most celebrated Jewish holiday is not Rosh Hashanah, is not Yom Kippur, is not Sukkot, it's Passover. The Passover Seder, and it could be for many reasons, maybe because they like the brisket, it's a family time, it's around the dinner table, there's deep discussions, it's steeped with rich tradition, but even the Seder night, which is the most observed night in the Jewish community, less than 50% of the Jewish people come to the Seder. And the Rebbe says, and this was the Rebbe's call after the Holocaust, and is pertinent even till today, and even more so today. The Rebbe said, our job in this generation is not just to address the four children at the Seder, which are critical. We have to engage the wise son. We have to engage the wicked one. We have to listen to the simple one and make sure that he understands and she understands. And then, of course, the one that doesn't have a mouth, doesn't have a voice, we have to become their voice. But we have to look for that fifth child who doesn't have a place at the Seder table, who doesn't feel that they belong to the Jewish people, who doesn't know enough. If it could be someone who grew up in Stalinist Russia and Judaism was ripped away from them. If it could be someone that is a fifth generation American and their parents never taught them. If it could be someone that was hurt and was pained by a rabbi or a teacher or a baron and left the Jewish fold. And we have to bring them to the Seder table. It might be difficult, but that's our job. And that was the revolution of the Rebbe. You know, our son, Yisrael, is in Abu Dhabi, helping to head a Seder for 500 people who are there and otherwise wouldn't have a Seder. In every single corner of the world, there's a Chabad, Rebbetzin, and Rabbi who are hosting Seders. Of course, the most famous ones are in Nepal and Kathmandu, with thousands. Literally, one Seder has 2,000 people. And I saw a video of the 60 rabbinic students in Nepal getting ready to prepare a Seder. Unprecedented, in 10 cities for Israeli backpackers. You think about what's going on in Israel, you think about the division between the secular and the observant, and then you think the message that Rebbe told us, and how it connects every single Jew. Don't forget about that fifth child. I'll tell you something even more. Talk about a positivity bias, and the way the Rebbe saw the world. In the 60s, and I've said this before, but it's such a powerful message, in the 60s, the Federation came up with a brilliant campaign. And they said that, 1.5 million children were lost in the Holocaust. No voice to speak for them. Children that never had the opportunity to learn about Passover, to know what it means to be a Jew, to celebrate. And the Federation said that every single Jewish family should place an empty chair at their Passover Seder to remember one of those children. How powerful, right? Never forget. Revolutionary, moving, stirring to each human being who sits by the Seder, looking at that empty chair. And they asked the Lubavitcher Rebbe to join the campaign, knowing that he had such an impact on Chabad rabbis and Rebbetzins all over the world and on world Jewry. They asked him to join. And the Rebbe said like this. The Rebbe said, if you want to remember those who perished in the Holocaust, if you want to keep their memory alive and a blessing to others, instead of leaving an empty chair at your Seder, bring another Jew to the Seder table. Bring one more Jew to be engaged. Then you'll make sure that their memory is a blessing and won't be in vain, and that they continue to live. There was nothing wrong with what the Federation did. But this way, the Rebbe always looked at everything with the right. This positivity bias that the Rebbe had, in recognizing that there was a fifth child that never made it, and our job is to reach out to this fifth child. And the Rebbe is sending Chabad rabbis and Rebbetzins across the globe to every single corner. If it's Mauritius Island, if it's Beijing, China, if it's Bangkok, Thailand, if it's Nepal, Kathmandu, if it's Siberia, if it's Kiev, if it's Dnipropetrovsk in Ukraine, if it's Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, if it's Montana, if it's Wyoming, wherever it may be, sending lamplighters to make sure that every single Jew knows that they have a place at the Seder. And to make sure the way we remember them is not with an empty chair, but with another full chair. And for us, Gruni and I, to have a child who was born on that day, whose name is Moshe, has the name of the ultimate leader, and is named after my grandfather, who actually sat in prison in Soviet Russia for spreading Judaism. And to know that today we have a child, and we are be able to engage others and make sure that they have a place by the Seder table. So my message to you is, if you know someone who doesn't have a place at the Seder table, if you know someone who doesn't have Shmur Matzah, if you know someone who could be engaged more, reach out to us. Invite them to your Seder. Let them know we have Shmur Matzah for them. And let them know that they have a place at the Seder table, no matter how far removed they feel and how disengaged. There is no Jew that doesn't belong at the Seder table. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.